Evacuation and all is the last resort. I hope one never gets to face that, but it happens out here at sea. What's good, you guys? Welcome back to another very important episode of Life at Sea, season number 3. In this video, I'm going to talk about what do we do in case we get injured, we have an illness, a disease, we need medical evacuation, what medicines do we have on board, and stuff like that. So very, very important for seafarers and also for the general public who watches this channel as to what do we do on a ship in the middle of the ocean in case things go wrong. A quick disclaimer before I start the video. Understand that we have no doctors on the ship. As seafarers, we are just qualified or certified to give basic first aid. That's it. All the advice, all the medicines are given only by the doctors who are sitting ashore. In case someone falls sick or has an injury, the medical officer has to be informed. That is the chief officer. He will then assess the situation and gather information to send it ashore, and the shore team, the doctors, will advise what to do next. So understand that, and on that note, I will start proceeding with the real-time things of what all we do. Let me start with the basics. That is communication, because that is the only thing which we have which connects us with the doctor. So just for example, if someone gets sick on board or has an injury, now how do we communicate with the doctors? Let's start there. I will start with the satellite equipments. You see 2 screens over here. These are Inmersats. In case we have a problem and we have to write down the message, suppose our email system which is on the computer is not working, then we come on to this. This is like a backup. So we type in our message, all the assessment done by the medical officer, and transmit it through this to a satellite which is connected all over the globe, and it reaches the hospital or the doctor who is designated for our particular ship or the company. Now for a radio telephony, we have this MFHF console with this telephone. So in case we have a coast station close by, like somewhere there's the coast, we type in the address on this console and then speak to the doctor directly if our satellite phone, which I'll show you now, does not work. Moving on from that particular place, this is our satellite telephone. So in case we have to speak to a doctor, we take out the number. I will show you how we take out the number and use the satellite telephone, call them up straight. So this is the best way to communicate. But sometimes, suppose you are in the middle of the Pacific, you might not get a signal there. So that is why the SAT-C is very handy and MFHF is very handy over there. There's one more thing I would like to share. In times of illness, it is very, very, very important to speak to the family. And suppose the internet of the ship is not working, then what do? You come onto the bridge, you tell the captain that you need to speak to your family. You pick up this handset and call, because this is connected directly to the satellite and it should work most of the times. But if it doesn't work and you happen to be at or near a port, using eSIMs can be a great option for staying connected. The Airalo eSIM store is the sponsor of this video, and it has a unique feature of covering more than 200 countries and regions in the world. This extensive coverage allows you to connect with your family from virtually anywhere in the world, even during times of illness. Airalo saves you the hassle of purchasing local SIM cards or paying high roaming fees, making it easier for the seafarers. Additionally, Airalo's user-friendly app provides a variety of affordable plans which are perfect for travelers like us. With an eSIM, purchasing and installing the eSIM is all it takes to get started. In case you're wondering if your phone is compatible with Airalo's eSIM, don't worry. A list of all eSIM compatible phones is provided in the video description along with the App Store links. Additionally, using the code KSN20 gets you a 20% discount on all your eSIM purchases, so don't forget to take advantage of this offer. One important thing is the computer. So through this, we send the email to the company to the company doctors, to the hospital, and take direct communication in written format. So this is the primary way of communication. This and the FBB handset. Backup I showed you. In case you are wondering where to find the number of the doctor or the email ID of the hospital, it is in the company's procedures and documentation section. Now it depends on each company, but here I cannot show it to you because it is confidential, but you can always ask your medical officer or the captain. Now, as I told you, we are not certified doctors and neither we can prescribe medicines just like that. Yeah, so we have certain books and procedures which we have to follow. I'm going to move on to this section now. Now, if you see our book section, there is something known as the Maritime Medical Manual and the International Medical Guide for Ships. Now, these are only 2 books I have here, but the majority of the books are in the ship's hospital, where we will go later in the video. But let's start with the International Medical Guide for Ships. Now understand, this book is just for guidance. We are not doctors and we can still not prescribe any medicine which is written in this book. The only way to carry forward is when we get permission and green light from the doctor as to what we have to do and what we have to give. Moving on from this book, as you saw, there are all the illnesses and injuries covered. There is also a very important thing which I forgot to tell you, that is the Emergency Response Manual. I cannot get into the details of that because it is confidential, but know that on all the ships you will have this manual, and it gives you a step-by-step flowchart of what to do from the ship's side, how to communicate, how to make observation sheets, etc. So that is there. And remember, when there is a distress or urgency or chaos, you always panic and you can forget many things, many important crucial things. So always read through the manual and be familiar of the locations. So generally it's on the bridge, in the engine control room, in the ship's office, and sometimes also in the captain's office. My mother used to tell me prevention is always better than cure, and I understood this to a great degree when I was here. I'm still here, out here in the open ocean with no doctors. So don't do anything unsafe. Like, if you don't know the job, just say you don't know. So you will save yourself, also save the lives of other people. So always remember, safety first, always. On the high seas, even more important, in life in general, but here it is too crucial, guys, too crucial. I cannot emphasize how important it is. Now suppose the doctor says you have to disembark or you need an evacuation. Now the company has to arrange for that. The master will do the paperwork and do the arrangements as necessary. The second officer will plan the passage plan to the nearest port so that you can be disembarked as quickly as possible. And of course there is the last thing, which is the helicopter evacuation. So that also happens, but if you are in the open sea 2000 nautical miles from the nearest land, the helicopter cannot reach with that much fuel required. So yeah, then you have to divert the ship and go to the nearest port and then carry out the operations. Alright guys, let's now enter the ship's hospital. So we are right now on the upper deck of the ship, and this is where the hospital is. So I have to open it because it's always under lock and key so that nobody takes medicine just like that. So this is the overall look of how the hospital is. It is not so big, but it has all the relevant things required. Let me switch on the emergency lights as well so that you all can see better. Okay, so let's start with the cabinet. If you see behind me, there are 2 certificates. These are the certificates for the oxygen cylinder. As you see, we have a 40-liter oxygen, 50-liter oxygen cylinder with all the equipments always connected, ready for use. And we have 2 more here. This is a resuscitator bag, and this is the spare oxygen bottle. These are the small ones, 2-liter ones. So I'm going to open the main cabinet now, where we keep a few medicines. So these are all numbered, all according to the Singapore flag requirements. Some shampoos for dandruff, malaria test kits, anti-malaria tablets, Vicks, and I'm not going to go into the details of the medicine. And we are going to open the section which has got all the dressings and instruments. So these are all the bandages, alcohol swabs, gloves. Then if I open one of this, you'll see syringes and all the requirements as per the Singapore flag requirements. In case the radio medical advice wants us to give an injection, so the chief officer and the captain are trained to give injections. They have done their certification courses, and as per their advice, as per their procedure, we can use this and give medicines, whatever medicines the doctor has told. Yes, I was telling you there are books here. So these are the same books which you have on the bridge, but additional requirements are like this ship's captain medical guide. So over here also we have all the like this step-by-step procedures of resuscitation and whatnot. So yeah, you always have a reference to work upon. Okay, from this section I'll now head to this red bag, which is the MFAG bag. That means if there is a spill and from a dangerous cargo which has got like chemicals, then we have a different procedure. I will make a separate video on that, but the medicines and equipment required are in this particular bag. So you got my point. Next we have this bathtub, which is important to keep a clean hygiene, and of course hot water will come from here. You've got these knobs. From the bathtub we move on to the patient's bed. That is nothing much to explain there. We've got stretchers, Neil Robertson stretcher and a spine board, telephone, and very important thing, this red button as you see over here. If I click this, an alarm will go immediately to the bridge and also in a few cabins that the patient needs immediate assistance. So we can come running and attend the patient. Generally there is always one man who is sitting here to look after the patient. But suppose if someone has COVID and then you have some isolation protocols, then of course the red button and immediately we come with all our PPE, safety gear and attend the patient. Okay, we've covered all of the hospital except the toilet, which is a normal toilet just like my cabin toilet, nice and clean. So that was the tour of the hospital. I hope you all liked it and got some good information. Now I'm going to go into the Q&A session of this particular video. I have put a story on Instagram and you guys have responded, so I'll start by taking the first question. The first question is asked by Shruti. Hi, does a sick crew still have to report to work even if they are advised to rest on medication? Absolutely not. If they have been advised to rest for whatever days, they have to stay in the cabin and rest. You are not allowed to go out and work. So I hope I answered that question. It's a strict no. Second question, what would happen if there is a medical emergency, like when someone is severely injured? Asked by Abhinav. So if someone is severely injured, I told you, first we will assess the situation, that is the medical officer, send the reports to the hospital for radio medical advice. The doctors over there, they will advise what to do next. And if it is a very severe injury like the foot broken into two halves or the hand in two halves, then of course medical evacuation. Now for medical evacuation, like I told you, either we do it by a helicopter if we are close to the land, or we have to divert the ship to the nearest port and discharge the the patient for the treatment. Number third question asked by Sudeep, that are we allowed to carry personal medicines on board? Yes, we are allowed to carry personal medicines. I have my own personal medicine bag over here. Only thing you need is the prescription from the doctor. if suppose you have some problems and you have to continue medication for some years, so you take the prescription from doctors and get it on board and declare it to the ship and the captain. We have a form, we have to fill that up and declare it. Okay, number 4 question asked by Himanshu Panchal. What to do if anyone is not still recovered from medicines that is on the ship? Then we have to divert the ship to the nearest coast at the port and take you off the ship. So there is no if and buts about it. If you're not getting okay, straight away you go to hospital and the doctor over there, he will assess you, examine you and say that yes, this guy needs to go home or to be treated in the hospital. So you don't have to stay on the ship for your entire contract. Number 5th question is asked by Biswaroop. A very good question. Is everything reported to the company? Like if somebody gets some minor cuts or burns? Yes, everything has to be reported to the company. You cannot play with the lives of another person. A minor cut can cause infection, which can cause fever and all of that, and you don't want to be in that situation. So everything by the books and no compromise here. So it's transparent. 6th question, very important question. It's asked by Serene 2005. If emergency cases happened at home, what will be the procedures? Well, if there's a very serious emergency situation at home, then you have to request the captain and the captain will speak to the company and the crewing will arrange for your disembarkation at the nearest port. But if you are in the middle of the Indian Ocean and there are like 4,000 miles to the nearest land, of course it's going to take 1 week to reach the port. So unfortunately, you cannot just disembark like that. So that is what you sign up for, and I hope it never happens when you're on board. But if it's possible, if it's feasible, then yes, you will be disembarked immediately. But if it's not possible, like if you're in China where crew change is also very tough, then unfortunately things don't work out the way you want, and that's shipping. Number 7th question asked by Ruben. Is there someone on board that has studied medicine, or are there no real doctors on board? I told you there are no real doctors on board who are certified practitioners. We are just trained for first aid, basic, advanced. That is for the chief officer and captain, and that's the most we have and we know, and we don't practice it every day. So it's tough. It's tough, guys. Believe me. Okay, so that's about the Q&A session. I think I've answered most of them. If not, you can comment and I will reply to each of them. And I hope you found this video informative. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Share the video so that it reaches to more people and people get aware of all of this. Yeah. So take care. Stay safe. Eat healthy. Exercise. And most importantly, keep your mind, healthy, focused and steady. Don't let it wander here and there too much. Take care. Signing off. See you next time, all the way from the high seas.